Spending money on language learning can often feel overwhelming. With so much out there, the countless subscription services, materials, and books, it's hard to figure out what's really worth it. And you can't just get it all because that'd be more than your food and rent combined. In this video, I'm going to outline the 4 types of things that I think are worth spending money on, and then share with you the best purchase I've ever made for my language learning. I see there as being 4 different types of things you may want to spend money on. You don't have to, but you'll likely need to purchase something at some point in this great hobby. For many languages or types of learners, your dollars will go further in certain categories than others, so keep that in mind. The first and probably most normal is paying for high quality content. If you can spend a reasonable amount to unlock the highest quality immersion content, that's worth it. A Netflix subscription for a lot of people is their #1 source of immersion. There are hundreds of hours of compelling, interesting content for you to go through. I personally pay for YouTube Premium since I hate watching ads, and it lets me immerse on my phone for probably too long. Especially if you're learning a language that doesn't have a ton of great free content, paying for content will probably be the best way to spend money. If you're just starting out with your language, look for comprehensible input creators and see if they have a Patreon that unlocks bonus content. The second thing is tools or things that make it easy to immerse. Things that increase the likelihood that you'll do your immersion and lower the barrier to entry. This could be something like a bigger computer monitor to enjoy watching shows more, or maybe you don't have a great way to listen to content, so you buy yourself some nice noise-canceling headphones to drown out the noisy neighbors. Anything that will help you immerse every day more easily. This is actually the category my best purchase falls into. In the same vein as number 2, anything that streamlines the tedious part of the process is at least worth considering. This is especially relevant if you only have at most a few hours per day for learning. You want as much of that time as possible to be dedicated to immersing or preparing your brain for immersion. So any time spent on other activities takes away from that. I'm talking about tasks or projects that aren't actually pushing your ability forward. For example, setting up complicated tech or searching for the best X, Y, or Z. Anything that saves you from doing the parts of the process that are tedious and lets you focus on what is improving your ability is an investment in yourself, especially if it saves you at least 10 hours. As they say, time is money. And finally, for many people, staying on track and sticking with it is the hardest part of the process. If you feel like that's what you struggle with, spending money on things that help you stick with it is very valuable and possibly more important than the other things on this list. This is probably the least saturated market in language learning though. You'll need to find what works for you. I would consider something like a weekly tutor or coach to be in this category. If you know you meet with somebody every Friday afternoon, you might be more willing to put in the hours over the week so as not to disappoint them. For some people, just the act of spending money on something makes them want to get value out of it, which makes a purchase in another category even stronger. Or you could splurge on a habit tracker app like Habitica that has game-like features to keep you going every day. I also know some people who, at the beginning of their learning, buy a bunch of books and put them on their shelf as a reminder to keep working so that they can read them someday. Now, before I share what I feel has been my best purchase, I quickly want to mention something else, at the risk of sounding super biased. Over the past several months, the Refold team and I have been developing our Ultimate Immersion course. And the reason that I'm so excited about it and proud to be presenting it is because it checks the boxes of value. We've spent hundreds of hours thinking of the process so that you can save potentially hundreds of hours by receiving clear, actionable steps to follow. And since the course is 30 days in a row, it helps you build strong habits and stick with it for the long term without burning out. We've even curated the best resources so that you don't need to waste time figuring out what to immerse with. And finally, we've laid out each day so that you never need to think about what to do and can just do it. It's the most approachable way to start immersion learning that I know of. If you feel like you do well in that kind of environment, check out the link below and see how you can join the next cohort. Anyway, enough tooting of our own horn. I want to share with you the best money I've spent on language learning. A Kindle. You can absolutely use any e-reader, but this is just the one that I went with when I bought it. I got this back on August 15th, 2021. I paid about $90 for a refurbished 10th gen Paperwhite. I highly recommend you check out the refurbished ones available online since they're a good bit cheaper than new and work just as well. And I've used this a lot. I read in Spanish with my Kindle basically every single day. I think I've only missed a few days, like less than 10 since I bought it. But sadly, if you read after midnight, the automatic streak counter counts it as the next day, so my best streak is actually only 134 days. But my week streak is 93 weeks in a row. That's pretty good if you ask me, and I doubt I'll break that streak anytime soon. Just reading a lot isn't why it's my best purchase. It's also completely revitalized my reading. Growing up, I would read a lot, but then somewhere in my late teens, I basically completely stopped reading books. And getting a Kindle and learning to read in Spanish changed that. It's been amazing. In that time, I've read 2.3 million words for a total of around 300 hours of immersion. The hours are a rough estimate and I'm a slow reader, so your mileage may vary. Not only is reading more just a thing I wanted to be doing, it's also amazing for language learning. And reading with an ebook makes it even easier and better. Reading helps you learn to parse the language. You get to take your time to work through the grammar and see how it works. It allows you to focus on the areas that are difficult for you and acquire them. Reading books forces you to just use your language abilities. You don't get any hints from a speaker, from tone of voice, or from visual context. It's just you, your thoughts, and the language. Reading also exposes you to thousands of words and helps build vocabulary. It's a natural spaced repetition system. You'll see common words again, again, and again. Not only are all those benefits good enough, but an e-reader also makes it super easy to sentence mine and look up words without doing anything. Kindles automatically track your lookups and put them into a file that programs can read. This combination of pop-up dictionaries and Kindle sentence mining was how I made a lot of my Anki cards completely automatically. Having a Kindle not only made daily reading easy and straightforward, it streamlined the language learning process for me and was the first true habit that's led me to working on Spanish every single day for nearly 2 years. Anyway, that's enough rambling about Amazon's products for now. I hope that this video was of some use to you. And next time you're going to spend money on your language learning, think about these 4 questions. Does it make immersing easier? Does it provide me with good immersion content? Does it save me tedious time that I could spend on more immersion? And will it keep me on track and learning every single day? If the answer is yes to one or more of those, then that might be a great use of your cash and time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy immersing!